Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my beautiful hot messes. My name is Mistress Lavender, and today I'll be reading Rich AF by Vivian 2. I'm on page 18 of part 1. And if you don't know where I'm at, click the first video, silly. But if you do, let's get started. The broke normies aren't coming for them because they're too busy fighting each other. But the other rich people aren't coming for them either. Rich people are apex predators. They are the biggest dogs. They are chill AF about their place in life. This is because rich people have an abundance mindset. Since they know they're going to be able to take care of their bills tomorrow, they're not worried about them. They don't cling to every last cent because they know the money can always make more money. That there's always more where that came from. They're able to decide what they want to do with their time rather than figure out what they need to do to survive. They don't have to see life as a zero sum game when they're dunking it out with other people at their level and fighting over the last scrap. The abundance mindset means they're not as competitive with other people in their socioeconomic class, and they enjoy so much less stress as a result. 5. Rich people share, swap, and scratch each other's backs. Rich people love helping each other out. I was pretty shocked when I saw this kind of thing in action when I started out on Wall Street. See, there's a restriction that says if you're a trader in equities, you are legally not allowed to trade the things you trade at work. So if you're the tech trader, you can't trade tech stocks in your own personal portfolio. Or if you're an illustrations industrials trader, you can't trade industrials in your personal portfolio. But what I found to be so interesting is that constantly, whenever there was a ever lull, or when we were all having our $15 lunch salads, people would just be sharing their stock picks or their investment ideas for free with other people. Not only that, but these were ideas that could not take advantage of themselves. But they didn't care. They were happy to dish out tips for PA, personal account trades, to anyone else. It's not only stuff like stock tips either. Rich people love being known in their friend group as the smartest person, the one with the best taste, the one on top of the trends. The phrase I hear all the time from other people, rich people, is I have this, you should get one too. I have this great tax person, you should work with them. I found this best cocktail bar, you should have the martini. I joined the best country club and I'll sponsor you to join too. The thing is, they also recognize that because they're sharing that knowledge, other people will open up and share what they know. They're indebted to them for this advice. It's the same reason rich people also love nothing more than putting their besties in positions of power. The thought process is something like, okay, if I'm not qualified for this job, but my friend is, and once she gets it, she'll owe me a solid. Then, as soon as she's in a position of power, I'm automatically tapped into the whole network, which will definitely come in handy someday. Yes, it's partially because they like to see their friends succeed, but it's also because they're thinking strategically and thinking forward towards the future. They're thinking of collaboration, not competition. Rich people think long term. Speaking of which, rich people are in it for the long haul. Rich people know that sometimes stuff takes time, and they are happy to wait. They are kings and queens of delayed gratification. They know what it's they know that it's better to weather out a minor deprivation in the short term to cash in majorly in the long term. Again, in theory, this makes total sense, but we've all painted our nails, immediately realized we had to pee and said F it, and scuffed up our manicure because we cannot wait. So yeah, in theory, we know it's better to be patient, but in practice, it's incredibly easy to sabotage a long-term goal. Gorgeous at home Manny to solve a short term problem, literally about to wet my pants. But not for rich people. They can hold it forever. A rich person has no problem, for example, stocking away money in a retirement account. Yes, the money they invested in their IRA account this year is off limits until they're 59.5. But they know that just because they can't spend that money now, it's not like that it went poof and disappeared entirely. It's because it's the opposite. Because it's an investment account, it's likely going to earn them a decent percentage back every year. So the longer they lock in to wait, the more money they get when time's up. They almost enjoy making themselves wait because they know that the more time they give their money to grow, the more their money will reward them for their patience. 7. Rich people love giving away their money and watching it come back. The boys that I sat around on the trading desk talked about PA trades and swapping stock tips. They were not sweating over the 15 bucks they spent on their lunch salad. They were worried about how they were going to make the six, maybe seven figures they had stashed and give it away. They could not wait to hear about opportunities to get that money out of the savings account and into somebody else's business. Inevitably, someone would mention, "Oh, my cousin's launching the startup," or "My wife and I are interviewing hard money lenders for a 12-unit complex." And everybody's first questions was, "Do you need money? Are they looking for investments? What's the buy in here?" This was confusing to me at first since I was panicking over the cost of my quinoa bowl. Why are these rich people trying to give their money away? Dude, you seem like you just want to light this on fire. Now I get it. The mindset rich people have is, how do I scrimp and save in every how do I scrimp and save and keep every last penny locked in my account? It's, how can I get this money flowing and growing with no and waste no time doing it? 8. Rich people, essentially the generation above us, have had it easy. I've mentioned time in a general sense about as something rich people harness to get rich. But there's one key aspect of time I haven't really mentioned when you're making money. In the past, it was a lot easier to get rich. Not for everyone, and don't worry, we'll break it down in a sec. And not across the board, but trust me. There's a reason a lot of rich people right now are from the generation above ours. You've probably seen news stories to the effect that millennials are the first generation to be worse off than their parents, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually true. It's If life is a game of Guitar Hero, those people played in tutorial mode and we're playing advanced on a broken TV. This is where the rich person mentality doesn't always map to the reality of where we, the millennials and Gen Zers, actually are. We've all been sold this American dream, right? Back in the day, in our parents' generation, so boomers roughly, the attitude was that if you worked your tail off, you went to a good college, and you got a 4-year degree, then the most part, you'd be financially successful. Whatever debt that they took on to get that degree was minuscule, small enough to pay off with a few shifts at a campus pizza place. They'd have a nice job if they worked hard and they were a good employee. They'd get raises. They would make enough money to put food on their table, to start a family, and to save. And then they take that saved up money and buy a house. And since the housing market has really gone up, has really gone one way up since our parents entered the market, the money that they put into that house made money back in equity. Their job kept promoting them up the ladder until finally they retire with a gold watch and a nice pension. Then they start giving us advice. The first big problem here is survivorship bias. We're only hearing advice from people who had opportunities to succeed in the first place. But there were massive swaths of the population that were left out of this normal American dream trajectory. Black people who were rel- red line out of property ownership, women who couldn't open lines of credit without their husband's permission, queer people who were, and sometimes sadly still are, discriminated against in hiring for jobs. The other thing is that these older rich people aren't wrong about what worked for them. Obviously it did. They fail to recognize that what worked for them, as in past tense. They're not entering the job market now. They're not starting from scratch in today's economy. And that's the big, huge difference in what's possible for those who are actively building wealth now at this time in history. The massive state of things in this country is financial as the current state of things in this country is, financially speaking, a hot mess. Massive systems like the housing market, the student loan industrial complex, and the international supply chain has been going absolutely buck wild in a way that is truly unprecedented in modern history. So if you ever felt like a stack, like a, so if you ever felt like the deck is stacked against you, allow me to validate that it is majorly. That's what the next section of this book is all about. Why things right now are way different and way worse than they used to be, and why so much confidential wisdom sucks. Once you understand where we are and how the heck we got here, you'll finally understand why typical money wisdom just does not apply, and how you can start making intelligent, informed, rich people decisions instead. The money advice out there sucks, and here's why. If you're reading about the way rich people think about money is a wake-up call for you. These li- then these little tidbits of advice here might be a tad more familiar. These are the money pro tips you've seen online, read in old books, vaguely absorbed from somewhere, and heard from financial gurus or your parents. They're also the pro tips that need to blank because they are keeping us broke. Just switch careers to make more money. Yeah, that's infinitely easier said than done. If a person grew up in a blue collar family in alopecia, Apalakaleka, Apple, okay, whatever that word is, and moved to a mid-sized city after school to work at Dunder Mifflin, what exactly is their path to say? Working at Google? Seriously, think it through. They don't know anybody who does computer programming. They don't live near a company where they can do an internship for experience, and they they probably can afford to work for free anyway. Even if they got the degree and or got the boot camp certification, how are they going to get their resume in the door? How are they going to take the time off for an interview? And how would they even want to uproot their whole life and move across the country just for a bigger paycheck, even if they did get the job? No, Google's going to hire one of the zillion people in their current referral chain from other people who know each other from Silicon Valley or New York City. This paper salesman is going to be reluctant to up and leave their family and friends at that queue receptionist at work just to get a better job, even if they could stand to earn more money. Jobs aren't just about paychecks, they're cultural, they're local, and they shape our identity. So, suggesting that a better job or a new career is all it takes to end brokenness forever is hardcore out of touch with reality. Just find a cheaper place to live or get roommates. First of all, what cheaper place? Take it from me and my fellow millennial Zillow obsessives. They're not just out there. In the real world, housing prices have jumped a ton since the middle of the last century, specifically 118% since 1965. And that's accounting for inflation and despite all the news about the pandemic home buying boom. Even if you're renting, you're not shielded. Higher overall prices for landlords means higher rent payments for you. And that's assuming you're in a good enough shape to pass the credit check, have a job with a pay stub, and aren't given the runaround by shady brokers. But most important of all here is that housing isn't just a boring line item you can reduce like a gym membership or an app subscription. For one thing, home ownership has been off the bedrock of middle class wealth building, the most expensive investment a person makes and the one they count on to fund stability up until or and well into retirement. And okay, I'm kind of messing up a little bit. I'm thirsty, so I'm gonna end it here. I'm on page 25, so I didn't really have many pages, but I'm proud of myself anyways. I read today, and I hope you have a great day. Stay safe, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next episode starting on page 25. Bye.